Hi, I'm Joshua Hanlon here in New Jersey on the banks of the Delaware River, just across the river from the city of Philadelphia, and behind me is the Battleship New Jersey. This ship was commissioned in 1943 and was one of 4 Iowa-class battleships created during World War II. It was the Navy's most decorated battleship by the time it was decommissioned in the early 1990s, and it served in more conflicts than any other battleship, starting with Pacific campaign work during World War II. It then went on to serve during the Korean War, went on to serve during the Vietnam War, where it was actually the only commissioned battleship in the world during that time, only active battleship in the world during the Vietnam conflict, and it shelled a lot of targets in North and South Vietnam. Then during the 1980s, it went on to serve in Beirut, Lebanon, and then in the late 80s and early 90s in the Operation Desert Shield. So it had a very long career. It was the longest battleship ever constructed at 887 feet long. The first thing you notice about this ship is its big turrets, and there were 3 5-story high turrets with 3 16-inch guns in each turret, and these are just incredibly massive guns that were able to launch a shell almost 24 miles inland to hit a variety of targets. There were also secondary guns, such as the 5-inch guns that provided anti-air and anti-ship support as well to the larger 16-inch guns. The New Jersey fired more 16-inch shells than any other battleship in history, and over 55,000 sailors and Marines served on it during its time in service. Now we're inside one of the 16-inch gun turrets here on the Battleship New Jersey, and these were the main armament for the battleship. They would fire massive 16-inch shells, and they had 2 kinds of shells. They had 1,900-pound shells for shore bombardment and 2,700-pound armor-piercing shells for attacking other heavily armored ships. And when these things went off, there was an incredible blast. If you were standing on the deck in front of them, you'd pretty much be blown away. And so there was a lot of care taken in that department. There was about 30 men that would man this turret area, doing all sorts of jobs to keep the gun running and make sure it kept firing. In 1944, it was New Jersey native Admiral William Halsey that was commanding the largest naval combat fleet ever assembled from this bridge right here. And it was also from here that he commanded the largest naval battle of World War II, the Battle of Leyte Gulf. He was able to communicate with other ships and keep up to date with everything happening during the battle right here from this bridge. Here we have an example of how the New Jersey was always being updated during its years of service. So behind me here you have the Sea-Wiz defensive system that was added in the 1980s, and this is used as an anti-missile system. It actually has 2 different radars. One tracks the incoming missile and one tracks the bullets being fired by the Sea-Wiz system. And every 10 bullets, it's constantly readjusting that to make sure it stays on target. And then to my right here, next to me, we have another system that was added in the 1980s, and this is the Super Rapid Bloom Offboard Chaff. And these are tubes that shoot out a bunch of metallic strips and then put those out as a decoy ship so that when a missile is coming in, it will aim at the decoy metallic strips and not hit the New Jersey itself. So once again, these are a great example of how new defenses were always being added to the ship during its years in service. These gray metal boxes around me are known as the coffins, and they housed the Tomahawk cruise missiles here on the New Jersey. One of these missiles could reach anywhere east of Dallas, Texas from the position that the ship is based in right now on the Delaware River here in New Jersey. And the New Jersey was actually the first operational warship to ever fire a Tomahawk cruise missile. It took us about 2.5 hours to do a fairly in-depth tour of the whole battleship here, and it costs $22 to do a self-guided audio tour of the ship, or you can pay $30 to do a turret tour, and that takes you through all 5 stories of one of the big 16-inch turrets. However, that tour is only available certain days of the week, so make sure you look into that on the Battleship New Jersey website ahead of time so you know what's happening the day you're actually arriving to the ship. There's also options for combination tickets because there's several other ships that you can tour in the area here, and so if you have extra time and want to check out some other interesting historical ships, you can look into the combination tickets as well as a really cool 4D experience that it costs about $6 extra if you do it with a tour of the ship, so that's very neat as well. So that gives you an idea of the pricing. Thanks so much for watching.